Descartes' cosmological argument is the argument that's found in his third meditation. And it's a critical argument for Descartes because the argument for God's existence is something that Descartes needs in order for him to secure knowledge of the external world. It's a crucial step. It's the only way he can counteract the evil demon hypotheses that God exists and God's not a deceiver. Now, if we think of where Descartes is at the end of the second meditation, he knows certain things. He knows he exists. He's a thinking thing. He has all kinds of mental sort of things going on. He seems to see things. He has ideas. And in general, when he talks about what's going on in his mind, he refers to all those kinds of things as ideas. Now, Descartes is certain that he has ideas, but if you think about the standard cosmological argument, it proceeds from assumptions about the existence of the external world. So that kind of criteria or those kind of premises are not available to Descartes to do what he needs God to do in his system. Rather, he's got to be able to find some way of proving God's existence without tying God's existence to an external world. In fact, it's got to work the other way. He's got to be able to prove that God exists, and that will enable him to be certain that there is an external world, that his senses do not deceive him, he's not dreaming, and it's not an evil genius who's deceiving him. Now, his cosmological argument, as a result, is kind of interesting and kind of different and kind of complicated. And it's going to take us a few steps to go through to get a real understanding of how it works. But a basic assumption that Descartes starts with in this meditation is that he has an idea of God, an idea of the perfect being. So this is a premise from which he can start, right? There are mental things going on that he can be certain of. One of these is that he has an idea of God's existence. Now, where are you going to go from this? Well, let's think of a few steps you can take so that we can understand it. And I'm going to call this the idea causation argument 1, because I think Descartes' cosmological argument can fairly be characterized as an idea causation argument. But if you think about it, I have a certain idea, an idea of the God. Now, typically, if we think back to when Locke's theory of perception, ideas are caused by something or other. Or if we think about, just the notions of causality, we have ideas, they had to come from somewhere. So a plausible suggestion is, or a first step, ideas are caused by the things that they represent. So from 1 and 2, we get the conclusion, or the intermediate conclusion, that is, my idea of God is caused by God, the thing that it represents. Now, pretty clear, if God causes something, God exists. So God exists. Now, obviously, the critical question is, why on earth should we think anything like the second premise is true? Premise 2 is based on a general principle, and let's call this principle CPI1, the causal principle of ideas. If an idea represents some object, then it was caused by an object. Sounds like a principle that Locke held, probably not one that Descartes holds, and you'd wonder where, since Descartes is entertaining this evil genius hypothesis, where on earth he's going to get a principle, or how is he going to justify or ever be certain about a principle of this. And obviously Descartes is not, because he explicitly rejects the principle, and here's what he writes. Among these ideas, some seem to me to be innate, some seem to me to be derived from an external source, and some seem to me to be produced by me. So he thinks there are a lot of different causes other than the thing that, or a lot of other possible causes other than the thing that the idea is supposed to represent that could cause these ideas. So obviously, this is not a principle he has. But let's spend a couple of minutes looking at Descartes' notion of ideas, because I think it'll be helpful.